Mitchell.
Well, thank you very much, Sir Gary. This is the first time I've had the privilege of performing under your eagle eye. It is my third time in government since I first joined the government in 1992, but I've never taken a debate in Westminster Hall before, so I hope you will treat me gently on this occasion, as I am a bit of a debutante. Sir Gary, I'm very grateful to the Honourable Lady for Canterbury, for securing this debate. I thought that she led off and framed the debate with humanity, wisdom and knowledge, and the whole House will be grateful to her for doing that. I'm also grateful to other honourable and right honourable members for their contributions, and I will try to respond to as many points raised as I can, and I will come directly to the important points that were raised at the end of my remarks if I do not cover them in the speech that I'm about to deliver. After 2 years of brutal, bloody conflict, today's debate takes place at a moment of hope. There is finally a path towards peace and prosperity, Sir Gary, for the people of Ethiopia. During 2 years of fighting in the north, thousands have been killed. There have been human rights violations and abuses on an appalling scale, as has been set out today during this debate. And some 13 million people have been left in need of humanitarian aid. It has been, Sir Gary, one of the world's most destructive conflicts. The peace agreement signed on the 2nd of November by the Ethiopian government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front is an opportunity to bring a permanent end to this conflict. I want to recognise both parties for taking this step towards peace. And I particularly commend the role of the African Union and its envoy, former Nigerian President Obasanjo, who led mediation efforts with support from South Africa and Kenya. This weekend, there was some further cause for optimism. On Saturday in Nairobi, senior military commanders from both sides signed a further agreement that maps out implementation of the peace process. At the forefront of this agreement is a rapid return to full and unhindered humanitarian access to Tigray, which members of the House have made clear today is absolutely vital. The peace agreement provides for a permanent cessation of hostilities, the disarmament and demobilization of Tigrayan forces, and restoration of services across Tigray. It also provides for a restoration of the constitutional order and the presence of federal authorities within the region. This is, Sir Gary, a comprehensive agreement which, if implemented in full, can serve as the basis for a lasting peace. But its implementation is far from certain. It will require sustained and magnanimous and restrained leadership on all sides and support from Ethiopia's friends across the international community. The UK government has offered its support to the Ethiopian government and the African Union. The early signs so far are promising. Since the 2nd of November, we believe fighting has largely ceased, and the agreement signed on the 12th of November demonstrates commitment to implementation. Now, if I turn to humanitarian access, this is clearly needed desperately. The UN estimates that 13 million people in northern Ethiopia require assistance. This includes millions in Tigray, who humanitarian agencies have been unable to reach since August. Humanitarian access has been one of our chief concerns throughout the conflict. I know that it's a concern shared by many in this chamber. The UK government has consistently called for humanitarian agencies to have unhindered and unfettered access to northern Ethiopia. My predecessor as Minister for Development, the Right Honourable Member for Chelmsford, raised this when she met Ethiopia's Deputy Prime Minister Demeke on the 22nd of September at the UN General Assembly. And she followed this up with a visit to Ethiopia on the 19th of October, where she again held talks with the Deputy Prime Minister. In both meetings, our message was clear: stop fighting, start talking, and ensure that all those affected by the conflict can access humanitarian aid and essential services. We therefore welcome the commitment of the Ethiopian government and TPLF to enable humanitarian aid into Tigray and to restore essential services. It is crucial this agreement rapidly makes a difference on the ground. Now, I turn now, Sir Gary, to the issue of drought. The conflict has taken place in the context of a wider humanitarian crisis in Ethiopia. In the south and east of the country, there has been an unprecedented 4 consecutive seasons of failed rains. This has led to a devastating drought. The previous Minister for Development visited a region in Ethiopia impacted by drought in October and witnessed one of the largest and most severe humanitarian crises in the world. As many as 24 million people have been affected in Ethiopia alone. In the last 18 months, the UK government has allocated nearly 90 million to support communities in Tigray, Afar, Amhara, Oromia, and Somali regions of Ethiopia who have all been affected by conflict and by drought. I turn now, Sir Gary, to the issue of human rights, which has been raised by a number during this debate. The peace agreement also affirms the principle of respect for fundamental human rights. It commits to the creation of a comprehensive national transitional justice policy aimed at delivering truth, accountability, redress, reconciliation, and healing. Throughout the conflict, there have been appalling records of human rights abuses and violations. The civilian populations of Tigray, Amhara, and Afar have endured the most terrible suffering. Throughout the conflict, the UK has consistently called for an end to human rights abuses and violations and for accountability for those found to have perpetrated them. We have raised this frequently with all parties to the conflict, through our embassies in Ethiopia and Eritrea, through my predecessor's engagement with Ethiopian ministers, and at the Human Rights Council. The UK was a co-sponsor of the resolution of the Human Rights Council that established the International Commission of Human Rights Experts in Ethiopia. And we are also providing direct funding to support the important work of the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission. Yes, I will, of course.
I thank the Minister for giving way and for the contribution he's making. Is he confident that there will be unfettered access given to all parts of Ethiopia to the UN and to other agencies as well?
Well, I can tell the Right Honourable Gentleman I'm not confident, but we are pressing in every way we possibly can, and we must move forward optimistically. And I will come to the specific point he's raised in a moment when I address some of the comments that have been made during this debate. Yes, I give way to my honourable friend.
I thank the Minister for giving way, and I look very, very much forward to his response. Minister, I did make the comment in my contribution about the religious issue and the attacks, and I know you'll come back to that, but I also want to press you, if I can, please, on the issue of the aid, the humanitarian aid and access for those Christian groups that are in Tigray and Ethiopia, which aren't getting the access to aid that they should. Please.
I will, if I may, come back to his comments a little later. The presence and conduct of Eritrean forces in Tigray, Sir Gary, has fueled the conflict and made its resolution more challenging. The Eritrean government was not a party to the peace agreement, but will inevitably be crucial to its success. We have consistently called upon Eritrea to withdraw its troops from Tigray. I repeat that call today and urge the Eritrean government to support this peace agreement. We recognise that a durable peace in the Horn of Africa depends upon mutually acceptable security arrangements, which must include Eritrea, and we encourage those in the region to find solutions through dialogue. Now, turning, Sir Gary, to development assistance, I want to make a couple of points. First of all, before the conflict, our development partnership with Ethiopia, one of the best in the world, had lifted millions of people out of poverty. Indeed, the results achieved in Ethiopia from British taxpayers' money spent there were truly stunning. And it had helped Ethiopia become one of the world's fastest growing economies. We want Ethiopia to return to more prosperous times. The peace agreement calls upon international partners to support its implementation, to help build infrastructure and to support economic recovery. The UK will play its part in that. The UK government has already provided 54 trucks to the UN World Food Programme in the region, and we are working with partners to remove the logistical barriers that prevent them from operating at full capacity. If the peace deal holds, Sir Gary, we will encourage international financial institutions to support Ethiopia's recovery. This, of course.
So, to my obviously amateur eye or ear, that didn't sound like an awful lot of aid for the numbers of people who are in need of support. I would ask the Minister if he thinks it's enough.
Well, if the Honourable Lady, who knows a great deal about these matters, will just bear with me for a moment, I will come specifically to the issue of money. This may be a moment for optimism. There is an opportunity to end one of the world's most destructive conflicts. But that opportunity must be comprehensive and nurtured by everyone. The prize is a return to peace and prosperity for a nation of over 100 million people, and the UK stands ready to do all we can to assist with that. Now, if I may just comment briefly on a number of points which I have not covered in my remarks, which have been raised specifically during the debate. If I can turn first to my honourable friend from Tewkesbury and thank him very much for what he had to say. He is one of the experts, many years' relationship with Ethiopia and its people, and the House benefits very greatly from his expertise. The Right Honourable Gentleman, the former leader of the Labour Party, he raised a number of important issues. He asked about the delivery of aid into the conflict areas. And I can tell him that yesterday, for the first time, 2 trucks from the ICRC got through to Mekele. That is a very significant breakthrough. Nothing has got through for so long, so I hope this may be a significant breakthrough on which we can build. The Honourable Gentleman for Edmonton, the Honourable Lady for I do apologise. The Honourable Lady for Edmonton, who always takes a great interest in international development, asked me specifically about the figures for aid, and she made 3 very interesting recommendations. Just to be very clear about this, I can tell her that in the last 18 months, and others too asked for these figures, the UK has provided nearly £90 million of humanitarian assistance to Ethiopia. Our support has reached people in Tigray, Afar, Amhara, Somalia and Oromia. And last year, UK funding in Ethiopia provided nutritious food for over 200,000 malnourished women and children, provided emergency health supplies for 1 million people, provided clean water to over 200,000 people, and child protection services to over 40,000 children affected by the conflict. In August, the UK provided an additional £6 million to the Ethiopian Humanitarian Fund, and in October, the former Minister for Development, my right honourable friend, announced 14 million of support to assist 150,000 women and children affected by conflict and drought. And these contributions are part of a wider 156 million UK commitment to humanitarian support for crises in East Africa this financial year. So the Honourable Lady will recall that when I had responsibility for these matters at DFID, I was always very keen to demonstrate what the results were that we achieved for this expenditure of British taxpayers' money. So alongside the figure I have given her, I wanted to stress the number of people we are reaching by this sort of aid. If I may then turn to what my honourable friend for Strangford said, he asked particularly about religious freedom. And just to amplify what I said earlier, Sir Gary, at the 51st session of the Human Rights Council, we co-sponsored a resolution to extend the mandate of the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia, and we have added 4.5 million to help build the capacity, pounds that is, to help build the capacity of Ethiopia and the Human Rights Commission. Now, this does not directly address his point about religious freedom, but I'm sure he will understand that it goes hand in hand with human rights, and we are very conscious of the importance of the issue which he has raised. If I then turn to the Honourable Lady for Dulwich and West Norwood, who asked particularly about PSVI. I wanted to know that we have invited a range of representatives, including from the civil society groups. She talked also about the role of journalists. We are very conscious of that, and she will know that this government has made a particular point of trying to support press freedom overseas through the work of the Foreign Office. And she asked about whether people will be held to account for what they have done. And I want to stress as strongly as I can that we will do everything we can to ensure that there is no impunity for war crimes and those who have committed human rights abuses. If I can then come to the Honourable...
You may not have done. Order. I'm so sorry. Our time has run out. We could have listened a lot longer to the Minister. The sitting stands adjourned. I'm so sorry.